Major Castillo, a civilian turned true son. Castillo's background is in engineering. He's been taking over radio frequencies and broadcasting these rants that, frankly, if you didn't know better, could be quite the recruiting tool.
My name is Malcolm Castillo, senior engineer and True Sons Major. My wife, Sharon Castillo, and our unborn daughter died at the hands of Sarah and their negligence. The government allowed this to happen, and Sarah and the division just made things worse. If it wasn't for their negligence, I would be teaching my daughter to crawl right now. I should be helping her stand, and seeing my wife's smile in her face. They should be with me. There's no reason that this should have happened. And so when a real emergency happened, and we needed the beds for people who were really sick, who really needed treatment and ventilators and isolation, there wasn't enough resources to go around. There weren't enough beds. There weren't enough ventilators. There weren't enough doctors to assess and treat the patients. Because idiots with a tummy ache or a sore tooth or a broken finger took up the time and energy and space, and the doctors missed the signs that this was smallpox until it was too late. The biggest failing at the beginning of the crisis wasn't the quarantine, or the treatments, or the government response. The biggest failing was the sad, sorry state of our healthcare system. For decades, we have watched as emergency care became the only care. My wife went to the hospital, and they sent her away with a bottle of antibiotics and baby aspirin. The hospital failed. And then Sarah and finally the division came in to clean up their mess. And it all got so much worse. There is no reason that Amherst should have been allowed to release his poison on the world, other than some idiot with access made a choice. And the choice they made was to let my wife, Sharon Castillo, and her sister Carolyn Owens, and my daughter, who we were waiting to meet, to name. My child, who I will never be able to name because I will never be able to meet her because she was still inside of Sharon when those monsters dumped their bodies into a mass grave in Central Park and set it on fire to contain the virus. My wife and daughter paid the price for their negligence. Any asshole with access to the equipment Gordon Amherst used to manufacture this virus can literally print their own apocalypse. The future of biological warfare is open source. A year ago, I would be labeled insane and sent to an asylum. But this isn't a year ago. This is now. And we know that all those people in tinfoil hats had the right idea. The isolationist preppers, the homesteaders, the urban farmers, if it wasn't for them, what would be left of humanity? The last two people on Earth would be killing each other over the last can of beans. Do not believe their lies. Do not believe that there was nothing they could do. The government was monitoring Gordon Amherst. We found the records. We found the proof. They deemed him not a credible threat. All of this blood is on their hands. They allowed this to happen. Do not let them get away with this. The true sons are fighting for your freedom from their tyranny. Do not believe the government's lies. The Green Keener proved it with his Eclipse bullshit. And the Division knew. They knew Keener had access to that equipment this whole time, and they did nothing to stop him from creating the Eclipse virus.
It's just being able to go to the store.
What do you think the next person will do with it? How many rogue agents do you need before you accept the reality that the Division cannot be trusted with this technology? The Division has not and never will keep you safe. Before the crisis, the grid was unstable. We never had enough money or people to maintain and improve the grid. Public and private blurring together. A jurisdictional nightmare. We built our own instability. And now, we are paying for that. If we couldn't work together when we had money and times were good, how the hell are we supposed to do it now that most of the people who knew how to fix the problem are gone? I cannot be the only person who knows how to run a nuclear power plant. If the plant has a meltdown, that would be the final nail in the coffin of the American experiment. The Division has proven they can't maintain the grid. They can't even maintain their own network. The Black Tusk, those nation builders, will enslave us all. The only people fighting for stability are the true sons. Most of us were already serving our country and keeping you safe before Waller issued Directive 51. We've always been here in the background, making sure society functioned. Some of us were soldiers. I kept the lights on. We know how to follow procedure and respect command structure and institutions. But heroes do not blindly follow orders. And that's why Ridgway left the JTF. That's why General Anderson will lead us to victory. How many people have to die at the hands of Division agents before they are held accountable for their actions? Oh! Isaac said it was okay, so it's okay? Great. Trust an AI, but not your own eyes and heart. The Division is no better than anyone else. They just have better tools for murder. If you want to get back to normal, join the True Sons. Abandon the Division agents and their quest for power. They don't care who gets in their way, as long as they get an attaboy. Good work, Agent. All they care about is being seen as a hero. But do they ever act heroic? The True Sons, we know heroes have to make the hard choices. You know the real problem with the Division? They think too small. They're only focused on the task in front of them. They're so consumed with busy work and little victories that they miss the big picture. They don't see that all these street fights add up to something far more dangerous. You know the one thing that the Division has really excelled at doing? Losing people. I mean, seriously, how many agents have gone rogue? How many presidents have to die on your watch? How many people? How many children? You're so worried about the mugger in front of you with the gun in your face that you don't even see the man behind them murdering your family. You agents never learn from the past. If someone is pulling you to the right, you should look to your left. That's where the real danger is. You're so busy chasing the birds flushed out of the bush that you don't see the wolf ready to pounce. The True Sons are fighting for the real America. You might think that I'm anti-cop, an anti-big government, if you've been paying attention, but I'm not. I'm anti-government sanctioned assassins. I'm anti-negligence. I'm pro-responsibility, pro-accountability, pro-choice, pro-life. We all have the right to live. We all have inalienable freedoms that the division takes from us every day. Did you know they were monitoring Gordon Amherst? The government knew he was a threat, but they let him go and allowed Gordon Amherst to release his virus. If they had just gone to his place, they would have seen he was a threat, and none of this would have happened. But no, they chose to save a symbol, and the biggest shopping day of the year, instead of going after a biological weapon. They did this to us with their inaction and priorities.